Right, hello. So in this video I want to talk about emotion and rediscovering emotion. And yeah, I have no clue who's going to be watching this, whether it's people I know or people I don't know. Either way, welcome. If you're my one subscriber, hello to you, personal hello to you. Thank you for following me this whole time. The reason I wanted to make this video is kind of twofold. The first one being that I make videos all the time. I don't publish any of them, and I do that because a lot of the time the way I process things is just by putting them into a space. Having them in my head all the time doesn't really help me resolve a lot of things that I really need to resolve. And videos and writing and that kind of stuff, journaling, has been really helpful for me since I guess like 3 years ago. And the second reason being that I feel like I want to have a discussion with people about these things on a broader scale. I talk with my friends a lot about emotions and vulnerability and all these topics, but I really feel like these things might be helpful to others as well, and might be helpful to me because I want to expand my perspective and I understand how more people feel about what I want to talk about. So I know that literally everyone in the world is experiencing some sense of bad emotions right now, and if you aren't, kudos to you. I don't know how you're doing it. Do I even need to mention the things that are on our minds? I mean, we have a global pandemic, and it's really exposing a lot of disparities between different communities that have more or less resources to handle this kind of crisis. There are many people in my community, people that I personally know, that are going through housing insecurities and are very much affected by the lack of a national response to this crisis. There's rise in hate crimes, there's like a national movement against police brutality, and there are countries that are at war or on the brink of war. There are awful policies that are coming out. You have a whole election that you have to also worry about on top of those things. And all of that at the same time as us having to continue our regular lives. So, you know, it's kind of a lot, like, for any single person to process. And more than ever, I feel a need to be able to understand what I'm feeling and also be able to handle it, because, you know, trauma. I don't want to have like damage in the future, and I want to be able to understand how I can handle it. So I guess a little background on my emotions and how I've processed them. I think around the time of high school, I shifted way more towards only being responsive towards very polarized emotions. So either really, really good things or really, really bad things. And I think the reason behind that being that I just didn't have enough time to process a lot of the things that were happening to me. And yeah, like, I basically had to mentally prioritize, you know, my emotional responses towards specific situations. And I don't know, I feel like it's just like human psychology, like our survival instincts. We really focus more on the negatives than the positives. And as a result, like, thinking back on my life or the way that I used to reflect on my life, the only things I really ever noticed were the bad things. And so I felt like my life was just a series of unfortunate events or a series of traumas that I could never get through. And that's like such an inaccurate portrayal of human experience. I feel like there are way more things that have happened in my life that were very, very positive and beautiful. And so many more opportunities for like self-growth in a positive direction that I just never fully acknowledged because I was so much more preoccupied with the bad stuff. And it took me so long to be able to, I guess, reflect on my life and focus on specific years or sections of it and acknowledge that I was feeling good in those moments. Like, acknowledge, thinking back on it, like, this was a good moment in my life. This wasn't just like a nothing moment. But in general, as a person, the person I am today and the person I'm trying to grow right now is unfortunately someone who doesn't feel a lot of things. Yeah, and I guess I am speaking more to people that are in the same boat as me, that have struggled with feeling disconnected from their own emotions, and really acknowledge that might be an issue that they want to work on. And trust me, I understand that it is like a very much a defense mechanism. It can be really helpful to deal with really big situations only because you don't have to think fully on them. And I think that's been my life for like the last 2 years. Like, there are so many things that have happened that I was completely okay with, even though they were pretty bad. Like, they're so desensitized and so removed from who I am as a person that I don't acknowledge like the bad impacts that they've had on me. And also because it also has allowed me to, effectively be grateful for the things that I have been given that are good. Because I want to be grateful. I want to be acknowledged. I want to acknowledge like the good things in my life. So I guess after realizing that there are several things that I have tried to do with myself to be able to grow towards being a more emotional person, and it is such a hard path because it's difficult and it's often very painful. Like, I cried so many more times than I have in the last couple of years since starting, because you just like reflect on some parts of your life, like, holy shit, like this happened to me, and I need to be responsible for it. And taking responsibility for some emotions that you've never, I guess, fully embraced before can be really overwhelming and very empowering and disempowering at the same time. So things that have helped me, right? Realizing where my network is, whether that's my family or friends or online communities. Like, I think when I feel down personally, a lot of the time I feel like I have no one to talk to, and that can be really misguided because there are so many people that care about me, but like once you're in that mode, you can't acknowledge that. It's like no, right now no one can understand me or no one can reach out to me, but that's like so false. There are so many people that do care about me, and even if not, they can't help me immediately, just the thought or just acknowledging that if I need a person, they can be there for me, can sometimes be enough. And so I guess what helped me was going through my networks, literally like sometimes even writing down the people that care about me and reminding myself that I can talk to them, or kind of like simultaneously going through my network and acknowledging that some of these people that I consider to be friends are not people I'm comfortable being vulnerable with, and at this point in my life I don't want to be surrounded by people that can't be there for me in that way, and making the decision to not talk to them as much as I used to, or not talk to them at all again, was a very, very good step for me to take. It's also very difficult because a lot of the times we get worth out of our relationships because of the patterns we create, like these comfortable patterns we fall into, where it's like, this person isn't necessarily like good for me, but I'm so used to doing these specific things with them that I should just keep doing it because not doing it is going to be disruptive and harm me. But I promise you that habit is meant to be broken sometimes. You need to get out of those patterns. You need to stop talking to those people. You need to stop doing those things, and all it takes is finding a different action that you can substitute, a different act. Like, it doesn't have to be a different person. You can even use the time that you're talking to that person and funnel into a different activity, preferably something creative, something that brings you comfort, something that makes you think more, something that is better for you. Another thing that really helped me was just being much more mindful of my emotions, and I think kind of just like randomly stopping myself throughout the day and analyzing them can be really, really easy step to take, and it can feel a little silly at first. Like, you're just like, I don't know, lying in bed on your phone before you go to sleep, and you're like, okay, what do I feel like right now? And a lot of the time you might be mistaking this like ambivalent state of mind that you're experiencing while you're just doing random shit for like comfort, or like feeling like you're in the right place right now. And just like training your mind to stop mistaking like moments where you're not specifically experiencing something big for moments of comfort and good and like power. Like you're charging right now. You're not just doing nothing. You're charging every single moment. You're doing something. You're growing in the right direction. Kind of literally just like remodeling the way you see really simple mundane daily tasks. Like you wake up, fucking great job, like you did it. I don't know, like I feel like one thing that really annoys me about myself is the first couple of times I do something that's good for me, whether that's like exercising or doing my homework, or I don't know, doing something creative even. I feel really good about it, but as soon as like it becomes kind of the routine, I stop realizing that I did that. Like I did that. I made it happen for myself, and I should be continuously congratulating myself for that. Yeah, and like, I mean, you don't have to constantly be like patting yourself on the back every time you do something good, but just like writing down the things that I do in my daily life that are actually good for me can make you realize just how many things you're good at, and how many things you're doing for yourself, and associating something positive with that. Because I feel like, at least for me, like on social media and just like reading books and like articles on different people, a lot of time I'm like, damn, like these people are doing so much, they're doing so much that's good for them, but like so am I in reality. It's just I don't read articles about myself, but I can write something about myself and read it and be like, wow, if I wasn't this person, I would think that this is super cool, but I am this person, so it is still cool. That's the case. Yeah, I think that's like kind of the points that I wanted to talk about, and yeah, that was super abrupt, but those are the thoughts that have been on my mind. And if I don't end up posting this, I hope it sparks something in someone, and someone has some response to this, because I love to hear what you guys think about when it comes to emotion, and whether you're on this journey with me to like reestablishing a connection with it, because 2020 has been a hell of a year. Honestly, the last couple of years have been all hell of a year, and I think it's time that it's a good time. Like I want this to be a good time, even if it's surrounded by bad things. Yeah.